Bitcoin has been seeing a nice correction to the upside, where after trading down for so long, we have now started to see a nice bounce, right? From the low to the high that we've set, we're up by about 14%, which puts it in line with the largest correction to the upside that we've seen in this trend so far, which was also 14%. But we're seeing some signs here that this thing might come to an end right now, that this thing might be ready to stop trending up and potentially reverse to the downside. And there's one particular sign which is actually extremely concerning, and it's not even on the short-term chart, which is why I want to bring this to your attention in this video right now. If you have been watching this channel and you've been subscribed, you're going to know very well that we have been calling pretty much every move in this trend very, very accurately. So make sure you smash up the likes if you've been enjoying that stuff so far. Here is where a lot of people are going to really start tripping up though. So this is where it's even more attention to stay locked in and really keeping a very, very level head. That is, of course, what I aim to deliver to you on this channel. And what I want to talk to you about in this video, first of all, is just the short-term signs that we're seeing in this chart. You know, when the market drops as much as it did right here and then manages to reverse as it has done right here, we can see that very quickly we start seeing indicators like the RSI telling us that we've actually gained a lot of relative strength, even potentially entering those overbought territories right here, which I think is very, very important. You know, one of the things which I was always saying would be fairly obvious is that if Bitcoin did manage to break above basically this red line right here, which is $36,000 for Bitcoin's chart, that it would probably make a fairly quick run up to this next green box right here, which starts at about 39,500, something like that. And this is where we could expect a little bit of resistance for Bitcoin to creep back in. Now we might be able to make it a little bit higher up there, but the thing is if we look at things like the 4-hour EMA ribbon that we have right now on this chart, we're already in an area of resistance. Take a look at this, and it's quite a large area. It's not really something that I would want to brush off like it's nothing, right? This is quite a serious area of resistance in my opinion. Now I'm not saying that this is going to be enough to hold Bitcoin back, because again, if we look at the 1-hour time frame, what I showed you in just yesterday's video is that we're actually doing really well with this 1-hour Ichimoku cloud. And so with these short-term signs of resistance, I think Bitcoin's fine, right? I'm not actually too worried about how this could be going for Bitcoin just with these very short-term you know, indicators that are providing resistance. But if we look at, for example, the very same indicator on the 4-hour time frame right here, it is showing us that there's quite a bit of resistance up ahead. And I guess one of the things that I don't like right now is that we are pretty much just moving up in a straight line right now. And you know, one of the most typical patterns that you always hear me talking about on this channel, because it's so damn predictable, is that the market loves to move down a little bit, form reaction rallies to the upside, and then continue moving down in line with its trend. And this prints the typical, you know, kind of staircase pattern that you always see when you type in, you know, stocks in Google and so on. If, you know, before you were a trader, you would have seen images like this, you know, all over the internet. And that's what's being formed right now. In fact, we formed this quite a few times. You know, the most recent occasion other than right now was right here, where broadly speaking, Bitcoin did the same thing. It was trending down. It formed a reaction rally, which I always call the staircase step. And then it continued to move down again, right? So we're in something very, very similar right now. And it's quite clear that this is a reaction rally. You know, one of the key things I was saying is I was expecting, you know, obviously going to get some sort of strong bounce relatively soon. That was very obvious on this channel. So again, those of you who are subscribed will know all about that. But the question is, does that reversal come, you know, when we start moving up again? Is it a, you know, major trend reversal? And do we start targeting levels like 60K again? Or is this just a short-term reversal which eventually drops and Bitcoin continues trending lower again? And, you know, one of the key ways you can tell that is looking at volume, for example. If we take a look at volume right here, when the bounce really started to initiate, it was a lot of volume, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't nearly as much as some of the sell-offs we've been seeing. You know, just look at the sell-off that happened right here when Bitcoin initially fell below $50,000 and dropped all the way down to 42 on the very same day. You know, this was quite a large volume spike, and we didn't even come that high with the move up today. I just want to put this stuff in perspective for you, because a lot of people are not doing that. And so, you know, as much as I want to say that this is a disbelief rally, and I mean, you know, the fear and greed index shows us this. I mean, you know, Bitcoin's up by about 14%, but our fear and greed index is only at a reading of 23, which is interesting, because the last time, by the way, ladies and gents, that Bitcoin managed to rally up by about 14% was right here, 23rd of December. If we take a look at where the fear and greed index was at that point, Let's just take a very quick reading. 23rd of December, we managed to get right back up into neutral territory. So the last time, very, very important, the last time Bitcoin saw a reaction rally, which was this strong percentage-wise, Bitcoin's Fear and Greed Index went from effectively a low of about 16 to a high of 45. This time, we've went from a low of about 11 to a high of 23. So, I mean, this can keep rising up. I'm not saying it's not going to, but it's very clear to see now with this sentiment that people are just they're not believing it as much as before, which is good, but that doesn't immediately mean that we're ready for a reversal, because the other key thing that we see when we see a major trend reversal is more significant price action than this. If I cast your mind back to what happened in March 2020 with the big coronavirus market crash, this is a lot like how we get recoveries in the market when we've set a bottom, right? We're going to, have huge explosions to the upside. And to put this into perspective for you, this move, and better I show this to you if I replay the chart on the 1 hour time frame, probably. This move, I mean, Bitcoin just dumped to shit in this sell-off. I mean, it was a very aggressive sell-off, and it wasn't, anything to do with Bitcoin particularly. It was obviously just all markets across the world shitting themselves at the same time. But if you look at this 1 hour candle, right, I mean, first of all, let's just measure the drop. We're going from 5,900 down to 4,030 in 3 hours. That is a 30% drop in 3 hours. That is insane. I mean, like, I don't need to tell you how crazy that is. But if we measure this again from the low then that Bitcoin set to the high within the very next hour, it pumps up by 40%. 40%. It goes from $3,800 to $5,400, and the reaction rally actually goes as high as plus 55% in only half a day. That is the level of extreme volatility that we might be able to expect if the market has had a genuine reversal. If we're only having a reaction rally, it would look something a little bit more like this, where we do still drop down by a lot, but the rally only goes up by 8.5%, 9% in 6 hours. This is more of what a reaction rally looks like, in my opinion. This is more of what a reversal looks like, in my opinion, where the whole trend is reversing, or where we have a temporary reaction rally before the thing keeps dropping down even more. Very, very important distinction to be making, in my opinion. And if we bring it back to the present day chart, we can see the very same point right here, I think, being illustrated very, very nicely by Bitcoin at the moment, where if we look at the percentage gain that Bitcoin was able to pull basically from the low up to about the high that we've set just in the past hour or so, we have managed to move up by 15% in nearly 2 days. So it is still quite a slow gain, in my opinion. It's really not super impressive at all. Webcam's got to turn off again. By the way, I've diagnosed the problem now. It's just very expensive to fix, and so I'm not willing to spend money while Bitcoin is so low, because I'd have to liquidate. But anyway, back to the point, we are seeing something which just isn't as extreme as a typical reversal. So to me, that also potentially means that we could be in a reaction rally, but that's really not the main thing that's got me worried. The main thing that's got me worried is actually something on the longer term chart that I want to show you right here. It actually, if we zoom out, one of the big things that Bitcoin has formed over the long term is these, kind of falling wedge patterns, right? And this is really important because obviously long term, you can start to identify certain market characteristics, and I'm not really drawing this one correctly. Probably could draw it from something like this, but broadly speaking, Bitcoin has formed a lot of these kind of patterns. Let me just draw it like this to keep my life simple. Just something a little bit like this. It doesn't really matter how you draw it, to be honest, because we're only looking to understand the key point, which is that Bitcoiners love to form these breakouts, which you can, see big explosions from, which obviously is very nice if you're living in a tax-free place like Dubai, because then you are enjoying huge double gains and so on, and not having to pay taxes on them and stuff like that, which is really cool, which is a very, very unsmooth transition into one quick shout out I want to make to a business that I love to bits. This is Rosemont Partners. These are the guys that I used when I was moving out to Dubai way back over a year ago. They've grown so much, and these are like a one-stop shop if you want to move your business, yourself, your family, whatever, to Dubai, and you don't really know how to set things up because there's a lot of mess, a lot of messy things going on, especially if you go to companies that try and set this stuff up for you. It's very confusing. These guys can do it for you, and if you reach out to them, just Google their name. It's rosemont.partners, exactly like it says it right here. Give them a call and tell them Sammy sent you. They'll give you a good deal. Like I said, I've used them myself. I've already referred a bunch of friends to them, but they do deserve more recognition because they've given me a lot of support since moving here. I am a technical analyst and trader and businessman. I am not a compliance person, but these guys do everything from A to Z. So definitely do check them out. Just Google them, Rosemont Partners, just as I showed on screen there. But I just want to get back to this right now. I just had to give them a shout out because it's been too long since I mentioned their names. I'm sure most of you didn't even hear of them on this channel because I don't talk about them very often. But the thing is we do get these, like rising wedge breakouts very often on this Bitcoin chart. But the most recent one, it didn't actually work out. And it's the first one that hasn't worked out in a very long time, which was unfortunately quite a bad surprise, I think. It looks something a little bit like this. I don't want to get too bogged down in how exactly to draw it because I've actually already drawn it for you on this chart. Bear with me while I pull this up. Bam, right here. This chart illustrates the very same thing, and what we're seeing here is a bunch of these, this was a rising wedge. I'm sorry, these are falling wedges. I've been saying it wrong the whole time. This was a rising wedge that worked out very badly. Bitcoin fell below, came back up for roughly a kiss of death, of course, depending on how you draw it, and dropped back down. This one also worked exactly as expected. Bam, we got a big breakout. This one worked exactly as expected. We got a big breakout. This one didn't. We got a really, really big drop out of this range, and I want to call it a fake out, but here is what a real fake out looks like. I mean, it did drop down by a lot. I mean, we're talking about, what is this, like from, I don't know, let's say $35,000, it dropped all the way down to 30,000. So that's quite a big drop. We're talking about like 18% down, something like that. Very, very large drop, but it was recovered all inside of 1 day. The next time we had a fake out, it was also recovered inside of 1 day, and the next time it was also recovered inside of 1 day. The difference now is that we've been trading below this wedge for a long time, and we haven't been able to just zip right back into the range. And of course, we broke out when the wedge was nearly complete as well. And so that makes it far more likely that that price action is going to stick, which is very, very concerning, because if we're not getting a bullish breakout from a pattern like this, that means things really might have changed on the larger time frames. And because we respected this pattern so well, I mean, literally going back to November is where we really started to form this pattern up until now, the end of January. This is quite a long-term pattern on the chart, in my opinion. It's a 3-month pattern, and when they're so long-term like this, they're very significant. And one of the worst things that an asset like Bitcoin can do at a time like this is backtest these areas and find resistance. The last time we did this, just want to put this on your radar. I'm not trying to spread fear here. If you feel upset or you feel fearful and stuff like that, you shouldn't be in the market as it is. You've just got too much emotional involvement. I'll just tell it to you straight. I mean, I don't need to sugarcoat anything here, to be honest. I'm just here to tell you guys exactly what's going on. If you do appreciate that, you know what to do. Please do me a massive favor and smash up those likes if you do find this content useful. But yeah, I mean, the last time that we had something like this happening was right here, where Bitcoin fell below its rising wedge and then came back up for a back test and found a lot of resistance and dropped all the way down to $27,000 in pretty much one straight leg. Bitcoin might be doing that same thing right now. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to get such a catastrophic drop, but easily, I mean, even a $10,000 drop would be on the cards. And, if it's being triggered by a round over here, that puts us down to the same low that we set previously of about, $28,000, $29,000, which could obviously be very, very catastrophic for the market. And I think a lot of people are expecting that too. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I did want to put this on your radar, because when we spend a lot of time forming patterns like this one we formed towards the end of February, and we only broke down out of it towards the end of April, right? So this was roughly a 2-month pattern that Bitcoin formed. And again, when we back tested it, it was heinous resistance. I mean, it was a disgusting strong area of resistance. And again, Bitcoin is facing exactly exactly the same thing right now, just in the opposite direction, which is even worse because these patterns generally are bearish. These patterns generally are not bearish. And so the fact that we even had a bearish breakout from this alone was bad. And now the fact that we could potentially find resistance here is even more concerning. So it's worth keeping this on your radar, especially for where the longer term chart could be going. I'm not saying that this is actually going to result in a massive smackdown for Bitcoin, but if it does and you're surprised by it, you're not doing your job. You're just not. This is something which I take very seriously, and I speak about stuff like this all the time inside of FourFlies VIP. One of my main objectives as a trader is to keep my capital safe. A lot of people don't do this because they take unnecessary risks with their money and so on. And you know what? That might work when we're in a bull market. But the fact is, at least short term, when we're not in a real bear market, I certainly don't believe that. But in a short term, downtrend, which is what we're in right now, doing things like that is very stupid, and you're going to cause way more damage than what you can recover when or if the market becomes bullish again. That puts you in a very, very dangerous position. There's still a lot of ways you can make money in these markets, and I aim to do them in these markets. I already ripped a very nice 30% profit on Cardano the other day. I've been watching this market to plan out my next move as well, and I anticipate pouncing on this market again very, very soon now that we are at critical levels. And if you want to jump inside of VIP, it is 50% off. With the Bitcoin drop in price that we've just now had, 50% off our Bitcoin price, and the USD drop, you are getting close to potentially the best rates you'll ever see in VIP right now, especially if you want to take on, for example, our yearly offer, which is also discounted 50%, where you get phone calls with me, you get access to our $2,700 course, our Advanced Trading Academy, completely free of charge. All members gain access to our Trade Insane package, which is a bunch of key psychological lessons and strategies that I learned over the years in audiobook, ebook, and video course form. There's a lot of stuff you're getting alongside just being able to watch me trade in real time, where I literally tell you exactly what I'm doing, where I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, how I'm planning it, what's making me decide not to commit or to commit to certain trades, and then the real-time updates on those positions, like the stop loss being moved or how I'm adjusting my take profit strategy and so on. There is a lot that goes into it, and it has absolutely transformed a lot of traders, and it's 50% off right now. So take advantage of it while you can. We're not going to run this for much longer. It's already been a couple of days. We usually keep these very, very short. So if you do want to jump inside, then this is your chance right here. One of your final chances right here. Just telling it to you straight. So if you want to jump inside, click on the first link in the description down below. Then that's going to take you to our free Telegram channel, where you get even more analysis from me. Click on the @FourFlies button at the bottom of any post inside of FourFlies Gold, and then send message to ask me how to join. And this whole process, these 3 quick clicks, will take you about 30 seconds. It's not actually a very long process at all, and you don't even need to sign up to anything to join. It's it's very, very straightforward to get inside. So those are the steps on screen right there. Moving us back to the charts though, the thing is you see, if Bitcoin does end up finding resistance there, there is still some good stuff that I want to talk about, especially for the short-term chart. It doesn't necessarily have to be the end of the world, because one of the best things that I think Bitcoin has done in this range right now is, one second, sorry, just got to handle something right here. One of the best things that I think Bitcoin could be doing in this range right now, because of its short-term trend, is that it actually was able to establish a little bit of support, as we were predicting on this channel, if it managed to kind of consolidate around the $36,000 to $34,000 area, which fortunately is something that Bitcoin did on the way down. And so naturally, I can expect that Bitcoin potentially, this is so fucking slow right now, I cannot use this laptop at all. Yeah, this is terrible. I can expect that we potentially find a little bit of support in this range if Bitcoin does drop down from this from this falling wedge resistance. I'm not saying that's going to happen, because this is very short-term support and I don't want to put too much faith in it. But unfortunately, it is support, and I mean, well, unfortunately, it might end up failing, but it's still there. It is still there, and it is something that's worth taking note of. Obviously, because Bitcoin now for pretty much like 3-4 days has been trending upwards, some of these shorter terms indicators and tools are going to be flipping bullish as well right now. So that also gives us an opportunity to potentially rip some very nice trades, and yeah, I mean, just see a little bit of volatility, potentially maybe even some continued moves up. It's all something that I need to reanalyze as time goes on, as I get even more data. I also want to draw your attention over to Lux Algo. I found this very, very impressive. If we bring it back onto the derivatives chart where I have less drawings, Lux Algo actually fired off a very, very impressive sell signal quite a while back. And if you take a look at this right here, yeah, the sell signal came in when Bitcoin was in the kind of low $60,000 range right here. And obviously now we're in the high 30s, but we fell down as low as about $33,000. So this sell signal was extremely powerful, very, very impressive, just to say the least. And if we measure it from where the candle closed pretty much to the low that we set, Lux Algo did actually basically predict a 48% drop in the price with that sell signal. So this was an extremely impressive little bit of success for Lux Algo right here, and I just wanted to highlight that and bring that to your attention right here. The last time when the market really started turning bullish again, we got a strong buy signal on the move up, which was absolutely great. Obviously, we haven't gotten that yet. It's probably going to take us quite a while to get it. But for now, this is one of the things that, I mean, could potentially signal where we could find a trend reversal. For now, unfortunately, we don't have that, and it still looks very bearish according to Lux Algo as well. So I just thought I would bring that to your attention, put it on your radar. If you want to get Lux Algo, it's linked in the description with a discount code where you get 20% off all of these prices. Considering where that sell signal was and how useful this can be just for a little bit of extra confirmation in the trend, these prices are criminally cheap considering what you get, because obviously this indicator can save you from losing a lot of money or potentially even help you make a lot of money, which is obviously the key point that I'm driving home with VIP as well, where, okay, this has just gone, but it's the key point that I'm driving home with VIP as well, where I am looking at just doing everything I can with all the resources I'm giving you to help you minimize your losses and maximize your gains. We've done that for so many people inside of Forfly's VIP. Here again is a quick sneak peek at some of the benefits, but not nearly all of them. There's still quite a few more that you get after joining Forfly's VIP, and some very, very impressive results as well. This person who joined on January 18, who joined Forfly's VIP on January 18, mentioning that it was the smartest thing she's done in a while, and the profits she made by January 22 have already paid off the cost of this person's quarterly membership. So very, very impressive stuff. This person absolutely slaying the market very shortly after joining VIP. We've had a lot of stories like this. Obviously, not everybody is like this. Not everybody is successful, but we have had a lot of very, very impressive moves like this inside of VIP. And if you want to be able to jump inside and get yourself in on that action, it is with the first link in the description down below. Just before I round off this video, I want to give another quick shout out to Rosemont. Just give him a Google if you want to move to Dubai. If you need any help with it as well, feel free to message me on Telegram. I'm always willing to help people escape the taxation of the West, because they don't deserve the taxes the way they spend them with Western governments, which is one of the key reasons I moved here to Dubai. And yeah, I'm always happy to help people where you might need a little bit more direction, if this is something, of course, that you want to do. Like I said, I've used them myself. I think they're phenomenal. My friends have used them as well, and yeah, they've been doing really, really well. So this is basically A to Z. If you want to set up a company, if you want to get your visas, everything, they'll handle everything for you. They'll tell you what to do. They'll basically just tell you where to sign. And yeah, you are getting a very, very useful, thorough service for that. So again, all you got to do if you want to find them is, again, just type in Rosemont Partners, just like this, in Google. Bam, right there. Just type this into Google and you'll see it right there, rosemont.partners. Give them a call, tell them that I sent you. Say 4Flies, say Sammy, they'll know who I am, and you'll get yourself some good pricing. All right, guys, hope you have enjoyed this one. Make sure to hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. Just one final note I want to make is these recording issues are infuriating. I did finally find the issue. I tried diagnosing, I mean, for a long time now. It's got to be like over a month, and I kept finding temporary fixes. It's not like I was looking for temporary fixes. I thought they would be permanent, but they never really worked. I think I know now how to fully fix my recording issues. Believe me, it is very embarrassing that I'm running a channel with, I think, like 124,000 subscribers, and my videos lag and my camera, cuts out and stuff like that. I mean, this is pathetic. I'm very embarrassed, and that's why I've always taken it so seriously. But of course, I guess one of the key problems that made this so difficult is that every time I thought I fixed the problem, I tested it, and it always worked fine in my testing. And there were times where it was actually fine for multiple videos in a row, but then again something goes wrong. So very frustrating process, but like I said, the fix is nearly here. It is just very expensive. I think I'm just gonna bite the bullet though, because I cannot respect myself having small issues like this on videos where you guys are just trying to get your information, and you got to deal with my technical problems. So I'm gonna make sure that I do, even though it is expensive, that I do fix that very quickly, just to keep the content on this channel as strong as it always has been. Alright guys, I really hope you have enjoyed this one. Once more, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all in my next video later today, where hopefully I finally make that Bitcoin bear market video, as long as no more significant price movements happen, because if something very significant does happen, then of course I'll have to delay that video again. Meanwhile, jump inside of 4Flies VIP, you're getting 50% off